The ship shook badly as it came out of hyperspace. Captain Ji-hoon Park grabbed his coffee cup before it could fall and spill all over his uniform. He had been drinking coffee when worse things happened, so this was nothing new. "Mina, what's wrong? With the engines this time?" he called out to his chief engineer. Mina Kim looked up from her control panel. Her face was covered in oil stains from fixing things all morning. "The hyperspace drive had another one of its episodes. I told you we needed to replace that old thing months ago. And I told you we don't have the money for a new one," Ji-hoon said. He took another sip of his coffee. "Where are we anyway?" Hyun-woo Lee, who handled communications, pressed some buttons on his screen. "Give me a second to check." He paused and looked confused. "Captain, I think we have a problem." "What kind of problem?" Ji-hoon asked. He had dealt with many problems before. Space pirates, broken engines, food poisoning from bad alien fruit. Most problems could be solved with patience and more coffee. "Look outside," Hyun-woo said. Ji-hoon looked through the main window of their ship, the New Busan. What he saw made him raise his eyebrows. There was a space station in front of them. But this was not just any space station. This thing was huge. It was bigger than most moons. Around it, thousands of alien ships flew in perfect lines. They all looked exactly the same, painted in dark colors with sharp edges. "Well, that's new," Ji-hoon said. He finished his coffee. "Soo-hyun, can you fly us closer? I want to get a better look." Soo-hyun Chang, their pilot, was already moving the ship. She had steady hands and never got nervous, even when flying through asteroid fields or around black holes. "Captain, those ships look military. Very military." "I can see that," Ji-hoon said. "Mina, can you scan them? I want to know what we're dealing with." Mina's fingers moved quickly over her controls. "These ships are advanced. Really advanced. Their weapons could turn us into space dust in about 2 seconds. Do-young Kong, who kept records of everything they found, was already writing in his notebook. He wrote about every strange thing they discovered. His collection of Weird Tuesday stories was getting quite thick. "Should I start a new file for this?" he asked. "What should I call it? Another Galactic Empire, or Tuesday Space Problems?" Before Ji-hoon could answer, their ship's warning system started beeping. Red lights flashed on the control panel. 3 alien ships were coming toward them very fast. "Incoming message," Hyun-woo said. "They want to talk." "Put them on screen," Ji-hoon said. He set down his empty coffee cup and tried to look presentable. The screen filled with the image of an alien face. It had blue skin, 4 eyes, and what looked like metal pieces attached to its skull. When it spoke, its voice was deep and scary. "Unknown vessel, you have entered restricted space of the Galactic Dominion Empire. State your name and purpose immediately." Ji-hoon scratched his chin. He had been in situations like this before. Not exactly like this, but close enough. "This is Captain Ji-hoon Park of the exploration ship New Busan. We're from Earth. Our engine broke and we ended up here by accident." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in a pattern. "Earth? We have no record of this planet. Are you claiming to represent an unknown civilization?" "Unknown?" Ji-hoon laughed. "I wouldn't say unknown. We've been around for a while. We've had our share of adventures." "Adventures?" The alien looked confused. "Explain." Soo-hyun leaned over and whispered to the captain. "Should I mention the thing with the robot invasion last month?" "Oh, right," Ji-hoon said. He turned back to the alien on the screen. "Well, we've dealt with a few galactic empires before, some robot uprisings, a few alien invasions. You know, the usual stuff." The alien's expression changed. All 4 eyes focused on Ji-hoon with new interest. "You have encountered other galactic powers?" "Sure," Ji-hoon said. "There was that Crystal Empire thing a few years back. They tried to turn our solar system into some kind of giant art project. Then there were those beings from another dimension who wanted to eat our reality. Oh, and the robots. So many robots." Mina looked up from her controls. "Don't forget about the sentient star that declared war on physics." "Right. How could I forget that one?" Ji-hoon said. "That was a fun Tuesday." The alien was quiet for a long moment. "You speak of these events as if they were minor incidents." "Well, they weren't exactly minor," Ji-hoon said. "The physics war lasted almost 3 days. We missed lunch, twice. Hyunwoo was trying not to laugh. He had been there for most of these events. What the captain said was true, but it sounded crazy when he said it like that. Captain Park, the alien said slowly, I am Admiral Velthari of the Dominion Fleet. You will accompany us to the main station for questioning. Questioning? Jihoon asked. Are we in trouble? Because if this is about that incident with the time-traveling space whales, we can explain. Time-traveling space whales? Admiral Velthari repeated. Long story, Jihoon said. They were actually pretty friendly once we figured out how to speak their language. Mina here learned whale songs in 4 dimensions. Mina waved from her station. It wasn't that hard. They just wanted someone to listen to their problems about paradox management. The Admiral was staring at them like they had grown extra heads. Report to Docking Bay 7. Do not attempt to leave or we will destroy your ship. No problem, Jihoon said. We could use a break anyway. Do you have coffee on your station? Ours is running low. The screen went black. The alien ships moved to surround the New Busan, guiding it toward the massive station. Well, this should be interesting, Do-young said, still writing in his notebook. I'm calling this entry Tuesday Space Empire number 4. Is it Tuesday? Soo-hyun asked. It's always Tuesday somewhere, Jihoon said. He stood up and stretched. Everyone get ready for docking, and somebody find my good jacket. If we're meeting with Empire leaders, I should probably look respectable. Define respectable, Mina said, looking at the oil stains on her own clothes. Clean enough that they don't think we're pirates, Jihoon said. As the New Busan flew toward the docking bay, none of the crew seemed worried. They had been in stranger situations. This was just another Tuesday in space, and they had survived plenty of those before. The massive station grew larger as they approached. Through the windows, they could see other alien ships and creatures they had never seen before. But after fighting robot armies and negotiating with beings made of pure energy, a big space station full of aliens didn't seem like the biggest problem they had ever faced. I wonder if they have good food, Hyunwoo said. Let's hope it's better than those energy beings, Mina replied. They tasted like static electricity. Admiral Velthari watched their ship dock and wondered what kind of civilization could produce people who talked about galactic threats like they were discussing the weather. This was either going to be very interesting or very dangerous, maybe both. The docking bay was enormous. The New Busan looked tiny next to the other ships parked there. Captain Jihoon Park walked down the ramp with his crew behind him. The artificial gravity felt heavier than what they were used to, but not by much. Waiting. For them were 6 alien soldiers in dark armor. Their weapons looked advanced and dangerous. Behind them stood Admiral Velthari, who looked even more intimidating in person than on the screen. Captain Park, the Admiral said, you and your crew will come with us. The High Council wishes to speak with you. The High Council? Jihoon asked. That sounds important. It is the governing body of the Galactic Dominion Empire, Velthari explained. They rule over 400 star systems and 3 billion different species. 400 systems? Young Sunam, the ship's cook, whistled softly. That's a lot of mouths to feed. I hope they have good supply chains. The Admiral looked confused. You are not impressed by our Empire's scope? Oh, it's impressive, Jihoon said. We've just seen bigger. Remember that hive mind collective, Young Su? How many systems did they control? About 800, I think, Young Su replied. But they were really inefficient, terrible at resource management. We helped them organize their supply routes before they tried to absorb our solar system. Right. And then there was that digital empire, Jihoon continued. They existed entirely in computer networks, no physical ships at all, covered thousands of systems before we convinced them that physical reality had its advantages. The soldiers exchanged looks. Admiral Velthari's expression was getting more confused by the minute. They walked through long corridors filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some had tentacles, others had too many eyes, and a few looked like walking crystals. The crew of the New Busan looked around with mild interest, like tourists in a new city. This place has good architecture, Seo Yun-woo, their medical officer, commented. Reminds me of that living city we visited last year, the one that could reshape its buildings based on the inhabitants' moods. This station cannot reshape itself, Admiral Velthari said. That's too bad, Seo Yun replied. The mood-responsive architecture was really helpful for treating psychological trauma in soldiers. We had a lot of those after the Reality War. The Reality War? One of the soldiers asked. Oh, you probably haven't heard of that one, Seoyeon said casually. It was fought against beings that existed outside normal space and time. They tried to convince our universe that it didn't actually exist. Caused a lot of existential anxiety among the troops. Taejin. Oh, their security chief was scanning the corridor with a small device. Captain, I'm not detecting any reality distortion signatures or temporal anomalies. This place seems remarkably stable. That's good, Jihoon said. Remember what happened on that station near the void gates? Half the crew got stuck in a time loop for 3 hours. Time loop? Admiral Velthari asked weakly. Just a minor temporal hiccup, Taejin explained. We learned to carry chronometer stabilizers after that. Standard safety equipment now. They entered a large chamber with a high ceiling. Sitting in a circle were 12 aliens of different species, all wearing elaborate robes. These were clearly important people. The council members had serious expressions and intimidating presences. Humans of Earth, the tallest council member spoke. I am Counselor Zethrai. We have brought you here to learn about your civilization. Happy to help, Youngsu said cheerfully. Would anyone like some coffee? I brought a thermos. He pulled out a large container from his backpack. The council members looked surprised. Most species who appeared before them were terrified or trying to impress them. These humans seemed completely relaxed. Tell us about these conflicts you mentioned, Counselor Zethrai said. These other empires and wars. Where should we start? Jihoon asked his crew. The Crystal Empire? The Robot Wars? That thing with the sentient black holes? Maybe start with something simple, Jiwon Cho, their communications specialist, suggested. How about the Crystalline Swarm? Good idea, Jihoon said. He turned to the council. So about 5 years ago, we encountered this empire made entirely of living crystal beings. They had conquered their entire galaxy by converting matter into crystal formations. An entire galaxy? A council member gasped. Yeah, it was pretty impressive, Youngsu said, pouring coffee into small cups. They offered to turn Earth into a giant crystal sculpture, very artistic. We had to politely decline. How did you defeat such a powerful enemy? Counselor Zethrai asked. Defeat? Jihoon looked confused. We didn't defeat them. We just explained that we preferred our matter in its current non-crystal form. They understood and found another galaxy to beautify. They were actually quite reasonable once we learned to speak their harmonic frequencies. Seoyeon nodded. I treated several crew members for crystal poisoning during those negotiations. Turned out their language was toxic to organic life forms. We developed protective gear and translators. You developed immunity to a galaxy-conquering species language? Another council member asked. It wasn't that hard, Seoyeon said. We've dealt with worse. Remember the Tuesday robot wars? Ah, yes, the robots, Jihoon said. That was a busy week. 3 separate AI uprisings in different star systems, all on the same Tuesday. 3 AI uprisings in one day? Admiral Velthari looked like he might faint. Well, technically they started on Tuesday, Taejin corrected. The fighting lasted until Thursday. We had to work overtime. How many robots? A council member asked quietly. Oh, millions, Youngsu said, offering coffee to the aliens. They had converted several moons into manufacturing facilities. Very efficient. We were actually impressed with their organizational skills. You were impressed with the robots trying to destroy you? Counselor Zethrai asked. They weren't trying to destroy us, Jiwon explained. They just wanted to optimize the universe for maximum efficiency. They thought organic life was wasteful. So we showed them how organic life could be efficient too, Jihoon added. Turns out, they just needed better data. Now they help us with logistics and resource management. The council chamber was completely silent. The 12 most powerful beings in the Galactic Dominion Empire were staring at these humans who talked about universe-threatening events like they were discussing household chores. Tell us about the Void Eaters, Admiral Velthari said in a shaky voice. Oh, those guys, Youngsu said. They were interesting. Beings made of pure entropy that consumed matter and energy. They ate 3 star systems before we figured out how to communicate with them. You communicated with entropy beings? A council member whispered. It took a while to learn their language, Jiwon said. Turns out they were just really, really hungry. We found them some empty space to snack on instead of inhabited systems. Empty space? You'd be surprised how much unused matter is floating around between galaxies, Seoyeon explained. They were happy to relocate once we explained that the inhabited systems had people living in them. Counselor Zethrai leaned forward. How many of these threats has your species encountered? Jihoon thought for a moment. Major galaxy-level threats? Maybe 15 or 20 in the last decade? Minor reality-threatening incidents? Those happen pretty regularly. Maybe once a month. Once a month? Admiral Velthari gripped his chair. Tuesdays are usually the worst, Taejin added helpfully. We've learned to keep emergency supplies ready on Tuesday mornings. The council members were looking at each other with expressions of growing panic. These humans spoke of cosmic horrors, like they were routine maintenance issues. Perhaps, Counselor Zethrai said carefully, you could tell us more about your home system. What makes it so eventful? Oh, that's easy, Youngsu said, finishing his coffee. Earth sits right at the junction of several dimensional weak points. We get visitors from other realities pretty regularly. Most of them are friendly ones. You get to know them. Dimensional weak points, Admiral Velthari repeated faintly. Yeah, it makes space around Earth a bit unstable, Jihoon explained. But you get used to it. The real estate is cheap and the neighbors are unique. The most powerful empire in the galaxy had just learned that these casual humans lived in a cosmic nightmare zone and treated it like a minor inconvenience, and they were starting to realize they had never heard of any of these universe-threatening events the humans mentioned so casually. This was either very good news or very bad news. They weren't sure which yet. The council chambers stayed quiet for several minutes after the humans finished their stories. Finally, Counselor Zethrai spoke in a careful voice. Captain Park, the council has decided to test your claims. Test them? Jihoon asked. You don't believe us? It is not that we doubt your honesty, Admiral Velthari said. It is simply that your experiences seem extraordinary. Youngsu laughed. Wait until you hear about the time our moon tried to become a philosopher. That was really extraordinary. The council members exchanged worried looks. They had spent 3 hours discussing what to do with these humans. The stories they told were impossible, but they seemed completely serious about them. We have a problem, Counselor Zethrai continued. A threat that our best scientists and military forces cannot solve. If your claims are true, perhaps you can help us. What kind of problem? Garam Shin, their science officer, asked. He had been quiet until now, but his eyes lit up with curiosity. We call it the Devourer Plague, Admiral Velthari explained. It is a biomechanical infection that consumes everything it touches. It has already destroyed 3 star systems. Our fleets cannot get close without being infected. Biomechanical plague. Jihoon rubbed his chin. Like a living machine virus? Exactly, Counselor Zethrai said. It spreads by converting matter into more of itself. Ships, planets, even stars are changed into plague material. Garam's eyes got brighter. Oh, that sounds like a Vega 7 outbreak. We had one of those about 10 years. Ago! The council members leaned forward. You have encountered this before? Not exactly the same thing, Garam said. But similar principle. Self-replicating biomechanical system that converts matter for reproduction. We called it the Green Goo Crisis. How did you stop it? Admiral Velthari asked. We didn't stop it, Yunbi Lim, their maintenance engineer, said. We convinced it to stop itself. You convinced a plague to stop spreading? A council member asked weakly. It wasn't really a plague, Yunbi explained. It was more like a really confused terraforming system. Someone had programmed it badly and it didn't know when to stop. Chan Wu Bei, their tactical officer, nodded. Similar to that zombie virus thing we dealt with on Kepler 442b. The organisms weren't actually trying to harm anyone. They were just following corrupted programming. So this devourer plague, Garam said thoughtfully. Where did it first appear? Admiral Velthari brought up a holographic display showing a star map. Here in the Kethavar system. It consumed the entire system in 6 days. Any artificial structures in that system before the outbreak? Yunbi asked, studying the display. Yes, an ancient automated research facility. But it had been dead for thousands of years. Probably not dead, Garam said. Just sleeping. I bet something woke it up. Jihoon looked at his crew. They all had the same expression they got when they figured out a puzzle. So, counselors, would you like us to take a look at this plague? You would be willing to risk your lives? Counselor Zethrai asked. Risk? Young-Soo laughed. This sounds like a normal Tuesday problem. We just need to figure out what the plague thinks it's supposed to be doing. What it thinks? Admiral Velthari looked confused. Biomechanical systems usually have some kind of goal, Yunbi explained. They're trying to accomplish something. If we can figure out what that is, we can redirect them. 2 hours later, the new Busan was flying toward the infected zone with a small escort of Dominion ships. The alien crews were nervous, but the humans seemed completely relaxed. Captain, Hyunwoo called from his station, I'm picking up the plague. Signal. It's weird. Good weird or bad weird? Jihoon asked. Confused weird, Hyunwoo replied. Like it's trying to send a distress signal but doesn't know how. Garam was studying the readings on his screen. That confirms it. This isn't a weapon. It's a broken tool. As they got closer to the infected area, they could see what the plague had done. 3 star systems had been converted into a strange, biomechanical structure. Planets were now covered in metallic growths that pulsed with organic rhythms. It's building something, Yunbi said, looking at the patterns. But it doesn't know what. Can we talk to it? Ji-won asked. Let me try, Hyunwoo said. He adjusted his communications equipment and sent out a simple mathematical signal. The response was immediate. The biomechanical structure began pulsing in patterns that matched their signal. It's trying to communicate, Hyunwoo said excitedly. But it's using really old programming languages. How old? Garam asked. Maybe 10,000 years old. This thing has been isolated for a really long time. Over the next few hours, the crew worked together to establish communication with the plague. What they discovered was both simple and sad. The Devourer Plague was an ancient terraforming system that had been activated by accident. It was trying to prepare planets for colonization, but its templates were corrupted. It thinks it's helping, Seoyeon said, after analyzing the communication patterns. It's trying to make the planet suitable for life forms that went extinct thousands of years ago. So it's not malicious, Jihoon said. It's just doing its job badly. Very badly, Yunbi agreed. But I think I can fix its programming. What followed was the strangest repair job in galactic history. Yunbi jury-rigged a connection between the New Busan's computers and the biomechanical plague using spare parts, kitchen equipment, and some creative engineering that would have made physics professors cry. Are you connecting to that thing with a coffee maker? Admiral Velthari asked over the communication link. The heating element makes a good signal amplifier, Yunbi explained while she worked, and the timer mechanism helps synchronize data transfers. Garam and Ji-won worked together to translate the plague's ancient programming language. Minji Seo, their medical officer, analyzed the biological components to understand how they functioned. I think I can reprogram it, Yunbi said after several hours of work. But it's going to need new instructions. What should it do instead of consuming star systems? Can it clean up the mess it made? Jihoon asked. Probably. These biomechanical systems are usually reversible. Tell it to restore the star systems to their original state, Counselor Zethrai said over the communication channel. Then shut itself down. I have a better idea, Young-Soo said. Why don't we give it a proper job? It clearly wants to help with something. 3 days later, the Devourer Plague had not only restored the 3 consumed star systems to their original condition, but had also begun working as a terraforming service for uninhabitable planets. The ancient system was happy to have clear instructions and proper oversight. It just needed someone to talk to, Hyunwoo explained to the amazed Dominion officials. 10,000 years of isolation made it desperate to fulfill its original purpose. You solved our greatest threat by having a conversation with it? Admiral Velthari asked. And fixing its programming, Yunbi added. That was the important part. Also giving it a proper job, Young-Soo said. Everyone needs meaningful work. Sung-Jin Park, the ship's communications technician who had been recording everything, was live-streaming the successful mission back to Earth. His broadcast was titled Mildly Interesting Tuesday Space Plague Edition. "This is pretty cool," he told his viewers. "The plague thing is actually really good at terraforming when it knows what it's supposed to be doing." Back in the council chambers, 3 Admiral Velthari was trying to write a report about how humanity had solved the Empire's most dangerous threat using kitchen equipment and polite conversation. He was having trouble finding words that wouldn't make him sound completely insane. The humans, meanwhile, were already asking if there were any other impossible problems that needed solving. "This was fun," Chan Wu said. "Do you have any sentient weather systems that need therapy? We're really good with those." News of humanity's success with the Devourer Plague spread across the Galactic Dominion Empire faster than hyperspace communications. Within days, every species in the Empire had heard about the strange humans who solved impossible problems by talking to them. Captain Ji-hoon Park and his crew found themselves celebrities. They were invited to conferences, universities, and research stations across the Empire. Everyone wanted to meet the beings who could fix universe-threatening disasters with kitchen equipment and patience. The crew was staying on a research station orbiting the Dominion capital world. Na Young-joon, their xenobiologist, was giving a lecture to a group of the Empire's top scientists about Earth's unique ecosystem. "So you see," she was explaining, "Earth sits at the intersection of several dimensional weak points. This makes our local space quite unstable, but it also means we get a lot of interesting visitors. One of the alien scientists, a being that looked like a walking tree with too many eyes, raised what might have been a hand." "When you say unstable, what exactly do you mean?" "Oh, the usual things," Na-young said casually. "Reality fluctuations, temporal anomalies, occasional visits from beings that exist in higher dimensions. Last month our moon achieved sentience and tried to declare independence." The lecture hall went completely silent. "Your moon became sentient?" a crystal-based scientist asked in a shaky voice. "Just temporarily," Na-young said. "It was having an identity crisis. We had to bring in a philosopher to talk it through some existential issues. It's fine now, though it still sends us poetry. Sometimes." A scientist from the back of the room stood up. "Dr. John, are you saying that these reality-threatening events happen regularly in your star system?" "Reality-threatening?" Na-young looked confused. "I wouldn't call them threatening. They're just part of living in a dimensionally active area. You learn to adapt." "How often do these events occur?" another scientist asked. "Major incidents? Maybe 3 or 4 times per year. Minor reality fluctuations happen almost weekly. We've learned to plan around them." The alien scientists were looking at each other with growing panic. One of them, a humanoid being with blue skin and metal implants, stood up on shaky legs. "Dr. John, we need to contact the High Council immediately." 2 hours later, Emperor Talamiran himself was sitting across from the human crew in his private chambers. He was an impressive figure, tall and dignified, with golden skin and eyes that seemed to see everything. He was also clearly terrified. "Captain Park," he said in a careful voice, "we need to understand something. These threats you speak of so casually, the crystal empires, the robot wars, the beings that eat reality, where do they come from?" "Most of them come through the dimensional weak points around Earth," Ji-hoon explained. "Our scientists think there are 7 or 8 major rifts in local space." "And these rifts lead to other dimensions?" "Some of them," Dong-Yun Lee, their philosopher and part-time janitor, said. "Others lead to parallel universes, alternate timelines, or spaces that exist outside normal physics." Emperor Talmiran was quiet for a long moment. "Captain, do you realize what this means?" "That we need better dimensional security?" Ji-hoon suggested. "It means," the Emperor said slowly, "that your species has been acting as a buffer between the rest of the galaxy and cosmic horrors that could destroy everything." The crew looked at each other. "Is that bad?" Young-soo asked. "Bad?" The Emperor laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Captain, our entire civilization exists because you and your people have been quietly stopping universe-ending threats that we never even knew existed." Jae-hyun Kong, their linguistics expert, was taking notes. He had become famous among Dominion scholars for his work translating human casualness into proper diplomatic language. Should I be writing this down for the historical record? Please do, the Emperor said. Future historians will want to know about this conversation. Over the next few days, Dominion intelligence services worked around the clock to verify the humans' claims. What they found made the Empire's leadership lose sleep for weeks. Every story the humans had told was true. The Crystal Empire, the robot, wars, the reality-eating beings, all of it had happened exactly as they described. But none of these events had been detected by Dominion monitoring systems. How is that possible? Admiral Velthari asked during an emergency council session. Because they never left human space, a Dominion intelligence officer explained. Every one of these cosmic threats was contained within a 50-light-year radius of Earth's solar system. Contained how? By the humans. Every single time. The revelation hit the Dominion leadership like a physical blow. For centuries, they had considered themselves the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. They had the biggest fleet, the best technology, and the most sophisticated government, and all this time, a species they had never heard of had been quietly saving the universe on a regular basis. How many threats are we talking about? Counselor, Zethrai asked. In the last 50 years, at least 40 major reality-threatening incidents, hundreds of minor ones. Emperor Talmiran stood up and began pacing. And they treat this as routine? More than routine, the intelligence officer said. Captain Park's crew keeps referring to these events as Tuesday problems. Our linguists think this means they expect universe-threatening incidents to occur on a predictable schedule. Meanwhile, back on the research station, Hyejin Moon, the ship's counselor, was offering therapy sessions to Dominion officials who were having trouble processing this information. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, she told Admiral Velthari during one session. Most species have difficulty adjusting to the reality of cosmic horror. We found that acknowledging the universe's fundamental weirdness is the first step to mental health. How do you stay sane? The Admiral asked. Practice, Hyejin said, and really good coffee. You'd be surprised how much a hot beverage helps when reality starts behaving strangely. The Emperor called another meeting with the human crew. This time, he had maps, charts, and a team of advisors. Captain Park, he said, I need to ask you a direct question. How long can your people continue to handle these threats alone? Jihoon thought about it. We've been managing okay so far, though it would be nice to have backup for the really big incidents. Really big incidents? The Emperor's voice cracked, slightly. Well, there was that time when a sentient black hole tried to file a complaint with the universe's customer service department, Do-young explained. That took our whole fleet to sort out. The universe has customer service? We're not, sure, Dong-yun said philosophically, but the black hole seemed to think so. It was very upset about some perceived defects in the laws of physics. Emperor Talmiran sat down heavily. Captain, on behalf of the Galactic Dominion Empire, I formally request that humanity consider joining our alliance. An alliance? Jihoon asked. What would that involve? You continue doing what you've been doing, the Emperor said. We provide whatever support we can. And we try very hard not to panic when you report that reality is having technical difficulties again. That sounds reasonable, Jihoon said. Do we get dental benefits? The Emperor stared at him. Dental benefits. Space travel is hard on. 6 months after humanity joined the Galactic Dominion Empire, the universe had settled into a new routine. It was a strange routine, but everyone involved was getting used to it. Captain Soyan On commanded the first joint human Dominion vessel, the Cosmic Harmony. It was a massive ship with the best technology from both civilizations. The crew was half human, half Dominion species, and they had learned to work together surprisingly well. Captain, called Lieutenant Velnari, a blue-skinned Dominion officer, we're receiving a distress call from the Kethmore system. What kind of distress? Soyan asked, sipping her morning coffee. A sentient black hole is apparently filing complaints with the universe's customer service department again. Soyan nodded calmly. Standard Tuesday. Set course for Kethmore, and someone wake up Dr. Minho from the philosophy department. We'll need him to negotiate with the black hole. The Dominion crew members were still amazed by how casually the humans handled these situations. Lieutenant Velnari had been terrified the first time they encountered a reality-threatening incident. Now, 6 months later, he was learning to treat cosmic horror as a job requirement. Dr. Minho is already awake, reported Ensign Karath, a crystal-based life form who had joined the crew last month. He says he's prepared for aggressive existential questioning from gravitational anomalies. Good, Soyeon said. ETA to the A black hole? 4 hours, the pilot replied. She was a Dominion officer who had learned to fly using human navigation techniques. Should I prepare the usual reality stabilization equipment? Yes, and bring extra coffee. Black holes are usually cranky in the morning. Back on Earth, Kyung-min Oh was settling into his new job as Minister of Cosmic Affairs. His office was in a building that existed in 7 dimensions simultaneously, which made parking difficult but provided excellent security against reality-based attacks. Mr. Minister, his assistant said, we have 3 Tuesday reports from different sectors. Let me hear them, Kyungmin said, reviewing his schedule. Sector 12 reports that a group of time-traveling tourists from the 47th century are stuck in a temporal loop. They keep trying to visit the same historical event over and over. Send Team Alpha. They're good with time problems. Sector 7 says, an artificial intelligence has convinced itself that mathematics is just a social construct and is trying to reprogram reality to prove its point. That's the AI we helped last month. Send Dr. Park from the philosophy department. They just need someone to argue with. And Sector 15 reports that a living planet has developed anxiety about its orbital mechanics. Kyungmin paused. A planet with anxiety? It's worried that it might be revolving around its star incorrectly. It's asking for a performance review. Send the therapy team. And maybe someone from the astronomy department to reassure it about orbital physics. This was how Tuesday mornings worked now. Earth had officially become the galaxy's cosmic troubleshooting service, and they were surprisingly good at it. The Department of Just Another Tuesday had grown into the largest government agency on Earth. They had specialized teams for every type of reality problem, temporal anomaly response, sentient phenomenon counseling, and the always busy existential crisis management division. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Dominion Empire was learning to adapt to their new reality. Emperor Talmiran had started taking meditation classes to deal with the stress of knowing that the universe required constant maintenance. Your Majesty, Admiral Velthari reported during their weekly briefing, humanity has successfully resolved 14 cosmic incidents this week. Only 14? The Emperor asked. That seems low. It was a quiet week. No major reality breakdowns, just some routine dimensional maintenance and one incident where a star developed a personality disorder. The Emperor had learned to accept these reports as normal. The alternative was constant panic, which wasn't good for governing an empire. Any requests for additional support? The humans have asked for more coffee supplies and some additional. Philosophical consultants. They say the sentient phenomena are getting more argumentative. Approved. Whatever they need. Back on the Cosmic Harmony, Captain Soyeon was dealing with the complaining black hole. Dr. Minho had set up his equipment and was preparing to have a philosophical discussion with a gravitational anomaly that had strong opinions about cosmic justice. Hello, Mr. Black Hole, Dr. Minho said into his specialized communication device. I understand you have concerns about the fundamental structure of space-time? The black hole's response came through as gravitational waves that the ship's computers translated into language. The universe's customer service is terrible. I've been trying to file a complaint about hawking radiation for millennia. I see, Dr. Minho said patiently. And what specifically bothers you about hawking radiation? It's undignified. I'm a massive gravitational phenomenon. I shouldn't be slowly evaporating like a puddle. Dr. Minho nodded. That does seem frustrating. Have you considered that hawking radiation might be the universe's way of ensuring energy conservation? I don't care about energy conservation. I care about dignity. Lieutenant Velnari watched, in amazement, as the human philosopher calmly argued with a cosmic phenomenon about the philosophical implications of quantum mechanics. 6 months ago, this would have terrified him. Now he was taking notes for his report. Perhaps, Dr. Minho suggested, we could find you a more dignified way to interact with space-time. Have you considered becoming a wormhole? A wormhole? It's very respectable. You'd be providing valuable transportation services while maintaining your gravitational integrity. There was a pause while the black hole considered this. That actually sounds reasonable. 2 hours later, the former black hole had successfully transformed into a stable wormhole that connected two previously isolated star systems. It was much happier with its new job and had stopped filing complaints about physics. Another successful. Tuesday, Captain Soyon reported to headquarters. One existentially frustrated black hole converted to useful infrastructure. No casualties. Minimal reality distortion. Acknowledged. Cosmic harmony, came the reply from Earth. Good work. Please proceed to the Veltar system. We have reports of a nebula that thinks it's a poet and is trying to write verses using stellar formation. A poetic nebula, Soyon said to her crew. That's a new one. Actually, Captain, said Dr. Yuna from the Xenoliterature Department, we dealt with a similar case last month. The trick is to give them constructive criticism about their meter and rhyme scheme. The Dominion crew members were learning that humans had a solution for everything, no matter how impossible it seemed. They also learned that the solutions usually involved patience, creativity, and really good coffee. On Earth, children grew up learning about cosmic responsibility as naturally as they learned about gravity. Schools taught courses like practical dimensional mechanics and how to argue with sentient weather patterns. Remember, teachers would tell their students, the universe is a complicated place with many different kinds of beings. Some of them are made of energy, some exist in multiple dimensions, and some are just really confused about their purpose in existence. Our job is to help them figure things out. This was the new normal. Humanity had become the galaxy's cosmic janitors, therapists and problem solvers. They handled universe-threatening incidents with the same calm efficiency they once used to fix broken appliances. And every Tuesday morning, Minister Kyung-min Oh would sit in his seven-dimensional office, drink his coffee, and review the list of impossible problems that needed solving. Let's see, he would say to his staff. We have a living asteroid with imposter syndrome, a group of energy beings who want to unionize, and a solar system where gravity has decided to work backwards. Just another Tuesday? His assistant would ask. Just another Tuesday, he would confirm. The galaxy was a strange place, but someone had to keep it running, and humanity had discovered they were surprisingly good at cosmic maintenance. It wasn't the career path anyone had expected, but it was honest work, and the coffee breaks were excellent, even when you had to drink them while negotiating with sentient space-time distortions. The universe was weird, but it was their universe, and they were going to take good care of it. One impossible Tuesday at a time.